I'm Merle Caruso. It's Friday, January 30th. Today, a prolific sex offender facing new charges. How he gained a family's trust under a new name. Also today, the latest on a fire that destroyed a community's only school. What caused the blaze? And what's next for the school's nearly 400 students? Plus, a first-of-its-kind class.
It's about community and it's about connection.
Meet the graduates from an Indigenous Entrepreneurs Program. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. A registered sex offender in Winnipeg, convicted of breaking into homes and molesting children in their beds more than 2 decades ago, is facing new charges tonight. Winnipeg police say 2 teenage boys have come forward alleging they were sexually assaulted by a man who built a trusting relationship with their families. CTV's Danton Unger joins us live in studio with the latest. Danton, what are the details of this latest case?
Well, Merle, a Winnipeg family hired a man who they knew as Ryan James Knight to do some renovation work. Police say over 11 months, the family built a relationship of trust with the man, even allowing him to spend time with their teenage son, only to discover he was actually a registered sex offender who had legally changed his name. Ryan James Knight was arrested earlier this week, facing multiple charges, including 2 counts of sexual assault and sexual interference, criminal harassment, along with multiple child pornography charges. Police allege between August 2024 and March 2025, while Knight was doing renovation work for the family, their teenage son was groomed and spent time at Knight's home, where police say he was sexually assaulted, though this abuse wasn't reported until later in the investigation. Knight was arrested in Calgary last March, leading police to charge him in July. Now, through the investigation, police identified a second teenage victim, alleging he was also sexually assaulted while at a sleepover at Knight's home in August 2024. Now, Ryan James Knight was actually born with the name Ryan James Gabori, and it was under that name that he was convicted in 2005 and served a 7-year sentence for molesting 5 boys between the ages of 5 and 11, entering their homes through unlocked windows and doors and sexually assaulting them in their beds. CTV News has confirmed years after his sentence in 2021, he changed his last name from Gabori to Knight, despite being a registered sex offender.
Danton, are registered sex offenders allowed to change their names?
Well, they were up until November of last year. That's when the province made amendments to its laws around legal name changes, prohibiting any registered sex offender from changing their name here in Manitoba.
So, Danton, do we know what's happening now in this investigation?
Well, Merle, police say Knight remains in custody and the charges and allegations against him have not been tested in court. Now, police confirmed this investigation is ongoing and tell CTV News in cases like this, they always consider the possibility that there could be more victims out there. Now, anyone with information is asked to call the Child Abuse Unit at 204-986-3296.
All right, thanks for this, Danton. We now know what caused a massive fire that destroyed the only school on Barons River First Nation.
Oh my God. Oh.
In a letter posted to the community's social media, Chief and Council say the fire on January 27th was caused by an electrical issue in a closed crawl space within the building. The building was destroyed. Now, according to a preliminary insurance assessment, it will cost $35 million to replace the school building itself, with another $2.5 million needed to replace the school's contents. The First Nation figures it will need about 27 portable classrooms for the nearly 400 students displaced, but it could take upwards of 3 months to get them. So in the meantime, it's searching for a space within the community it can use to teach the kids. The number of opioid-related calls the Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service handles each year have skyrocketed over the past decade. The service tracks cases where the main reason for calling involves alcohol or drugs, and opioid cases have jumped more than 1,300%. The number of cases where opioids were involved rose from 231 back in 2016 to a record high 3,400 in 2023. Now, that number actually dipped a bit by about 300 in 2024, and 2025 numbers, which don't include December, are on track for a similar year-end total. Calls related to alcohol use fell over the 10-year period, but it remains the #1 request for service. Cocaine cases fluctuated. Crystal meth calls rose to a record high in 2021, and marijuana cases remained relatively stagnant. The total number of calls each year has also jumped substantially. The report notes the true number of substance use calls is likely higher, as some calls are logged by symptoms instead, such as shortness of breath, dizziness, or chest tightness. RRC Polytech's first class of Indigenous entrepreneurs has graduated.
It's about community and it's about connection.
The 12 entrepreneurs shared their business ideas developed in the course with supporters and mentors. They're the first to graduate from the college's new Indigenous Business Accelerator and Incubator. It provides mentorship, workshops, coaching, and access to networks over 4 months to help the students take their ideas from concept to action.
You really get these chances for small one-on-one sessions, and you tell them your ideas, and then they help cater their ideas and how to do marketing to your business.
Applications are being accepted now for the next cohort, which is scheduled for the fall. It's an issue local hockey moms know all too well. What do you do with your winter coat or bag when you need to use the washroom at one of the city's arenas? A motion at City Hall says many women's washrooms don't have enough coat hooks and are lacking them all entirely. The report says ladies often have to place their items on the floor or try to awkwardly juggle them while using the facilities. The motion would direct the public service to figure out what needs to happen to put a sturdy coat hook into every women's bathroom stall in city-run arenas and rec centers, and how much it would cost. The Property and Development Committee will consider the motion next week. A new agreement means plows will be clearing the perimeter highway 24/7 when severe weather hits. The province has signed an agreement with MGEU, which permits plows to operate at all hours of the day on an as-needed basis. It would be activated when weather posing a significant risk to public safety is forecast or already underway, using 2 12-hour shifts. The agreement was signed last Thursday. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at our weekend Skywatch forecast. How's the weekend kicking off, Colleen?
Well, there will be snow in Manitoba and in Winnipeg. Not enough to trigger the perimeter being plowed 24 hours a day. But mind you, it'll be a shift from this. We've enjoyed the sunshine. It's been a little cool this week, really 4 days in a row. This is the 4th day where temperatures have only risen to really only the upper minus teens, if you will, for Winnipeg and much of the south. That's going to change with the snow. The temperatures are going to be a lot milder, and there's more to tell you about with this incoming system, but I'll leave that for a little later on. The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfit, our exclusive home of the PermaFit solution in Winnipeg right now. Look at that beautiful sky. It's minus 19 degrees with the south-southeast winds at 15 kilometers an hour. The wind chill feels like minus 28. The pressure's rising and the humidity is 69%. And on this Friday afternoon, those folks just want to get their weekend started, sitting there in their cars on Osborne Street in Osborne Village. One traffic note, although this was about an hour ago, this was reported. Archibald northbound at Marion, there is a vehicle with reported mechanical issues blocking the lane.
In my mind, education is probably the best harm reduction tool that we have when it comes to young people.
Coming up, the new home for a foundation raising awareness about recreational drugs.
A steep stumble for the TSX. It was swept up in that downward spiral of gold and silver prices. Spot gold had its biggest drop in decades. On Thursday, an ounce was selling for $5,450 US. By the end of the trading day today, it was under $4,900. The price of silver fell more than 25%. Both move opposite to the U.S. dollar, which gained strength after the American president announced his new pick for U.S. Federal Reserve Chair. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.46. West Texas Intermediate today is up to 65.80. Western Canadian Select up over $2 to 50.63. And the TSX lost almost 1,100 points to end the week under 32,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Market Watch is brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross. Group health plans for any size business.
Manitobans gathered at the Legislative Building last night to mark a National Day of Remembrance against Islamophobia. It was on this day in 2017, 6 Muslim worshippers were killed when a gunman stormed a Quebec City mosque just after evening prayers and opened fire. Members of Manitoba's Muslim, Indigenous, and interfaith communities came together to mark the National Day of Remembrance. Organizers say hate is growing in Canada and worldwide.
This goes beyond just the Muslim community, right? Hate is taking hold in our city, in our province, in our country, and we wanted to be this year to remember all victims of hate, going from the Indigenous to now. And I think that's the only way we can make a difference, when we stand together.
In addition to the shooting at the Quebec Mosque, 4 family members who were murdered in a 2021 London, Ontario vehicular attack were also remembered. An organization focused on recreational drug awareness has a new home.
In my mind, education is probably the best harm reduction tool that we have when it comes to young people.
Singing Red Bear Foundation officially opened its headquarters at 350 Portage Avenue this morning. Joseph Foray founded the initiative in 2023 after his son Harlan died after taking ecstasy laced with fentanyl. Harlan's death inspired him to launch the No Thanks, I'm Good campaign to highlight the dangers of using recreational drugs.
It comes down to a choice. You see, my son made one bad choice, and it cost him his life. He wasn't an addict. For whatever reason, he made that choice. And so when we approach young people in schools, we tell them flat out, someday you're going to have to make a choice. You know, and here's what's happening right now.
He says the foundation's new headquarters is a community space for grieving families and a center to further develop No Thanks, I'm Good programming to present in schools and all around the province.
I'm so sorry.
Remembering Canadian comedy icon Catherine O'Hara. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting the incredibly hip and the Stoneheads.
Colleen Brady is back now for Spotlight, and we begin today with some sad news. Canadian actress Catherine O'Hara has died.
Marilee, representatives from Creative Artists Agency says O'Hara died at her home in Los Angeles following a brief illness. She is best known for her roles in Home Alone, Beetlejuice, and in Schitt's Creek. But O'Hara got her start in Toronto on the comedy series CTV.
Oh, go ahead, enjoy the love you have. As long as I'm here to entertain you.
O'Hara was born in Toronto in 1954. After graduating high school, she took a job as a waitress at the Second City Theatre in Toronto, where she was lucky enough to watch legendary actors like Dan Aykroyd and Gilda Radner before joining the company in 1974 and sharing the stage with Eugene Levy. In 1976, the theatre began its own TV show called Second City Television, or SCTV, where O'Hara was a staple on the program, entertaining viewers with her original characters and celebrity impressions.
It's a little private joke that Lydia and I share.
It's not a joke.
Yes, it is. Just today she tried to convince me that this house is haunted. Kids! You know I love them.
O'Hara collaborated with filmmaker Tim Burton for roles in Beetlejuice and The Nightmare Before Christmas. It was on the set of Beetlejuice where she met her husband, Beau Welch.
When it's time to lay down your weary head, you'll find comfort and safety at the partially renovated Rosebud Motel. And don't forget to say hello to your handsome proprietor, Mr. Jonathan Rose.
And this was O'Hara playing the role of Moira Rose in the television hit series Schitt's Creek. For that performance, she earned an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series and a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Television Series.
What else could we be forgetting?
Such an iconic
Classic.
role.
That's right. But O'Hara might best be known as Kate McAllister, the mom to Macaulay Culkin's Kevin in the 1990s hit Home Alone. McCulkin posted an emotional response online. The star posted photos of himself and O'Hara over the years with the caption, "Mama, I thought we had more time." Other tributes to O'Hara have been pouring in over the last few hours, from former co-stars to Prime Minister Mark Carney. Catherine O'Hara was just 71.
Our thoughts with her family. There is a new nature display to check out at the Leaf.
That's right. It explores the mystic world of plants.
We've got citrus and olives and things that we haven't been able to use in the display before.
The sensory exploration of medicinal herbs and botanicals features a variety of plants and spices, hanging bundles, and amber glass jars. The display is designed to emulate apothecary shelves and create a sensory exploration. Visitors can learn more about the healing and transformative power of plants on Signs and Daily Talks.
Every day we do gardener chats where we have the gardener crew from within the Leaf actually do these 20-minute chats where people can gather around and they'll talk about a particular plant or a particular subject.
The dried plants were harvested in the fall from the Assiniboine Park Gardens and preserved for every season. The Nature's Apothecary display is on now through March 22nd at the Leaf.
What a cool idea. I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
We are heading back to the White Lotus, and I'm very excited.
Thank goodness. Yes, and some new faces are joining the cast of a hit drama for season 4. Actors Helena Bonham Carter and Chris Messina head the list. Others joining the show include model Marissa Long and actors Alexander Ludwig and Steve Coogan. Previous seasons have been set in Hawaii, Italy, and Thailand. Season 4 will take place in France. Filming is expected to start in April and continue through to the end of October.
The Grammys will be handed out this Sunday in Los Angeles.
That's right, and there are some big names up for the night's biggest awards.
She a fan, he a flop, they just wanna kumbaya, nah.
Kendrick Lamar is leading the field with 9 nominations. Those include the top 3 awards: Album, Record, and Song of the Year. He's joined in those races by Lady Gaga, who tied for the second most nominations with a career best of 7. Also competing in all those top categories are superstars like Sabrina Carpenter and Bad Bunny. The 68th Annual Grammy Awards air Sunday at 8 p.m.
All right, mark your calendars.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome. Your primetime lineup starts with Celebrity Wheel of Fortune at 7. Happy's Place is at 8, followed by Stumble at 8:30. And Boston Blue winds everything up at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
CTV Primetime Lineup, brought to you by the Parkway Retirement Community. Welcome home.
A live look at Portage Avenue, east and westbound in front of Fuller Park. Everything appears to be running smoothly there. Clear in the city, minus 19 degrees. I'll show you when the snow will be moving in coming up.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast and more on that snow that's headed here this weekend.
It's not going to be an awful lot, but it will pick up some steam in the Winnipeg area by tomorrow evening. It will get here before then, though. But today it was a sunny day, and like I said earlier, this is the 4th day in a row where we've had sunshine and temperatures that have only reached the upper teens. And Brandon right now is just minus 21. The sun shining there. It's been shining in Winnipeg all day long. In the north, a different story. There's drifting snow reporting in Thompson right now, but back down in northwestern Ontario. Sunny there. Here's a quick look at the current temperatures. In Kenora, minus 17 degrees, minus 19 in Winnipeg. As I mentioned, Brandon, minus 21 degrees. And in that drifting snow in Thompson, minus 15 there, minus 16 up in Gillam and Churchill. Here's what it looks like or feels like. Well, you can see it, so it looks like it, but it also feels like it. The wind chills, of course. It feels like minus 28 here in Winnipeg. Wind chills not as strong as you can see across the northern half of the province. A little colder in the south today than in the north, thanks to this snow that has been falling in parts of the northern half of the province, particularly the northern quarter of the province today. That will continue to move east throughout the night. Meanwhile, down here in the south, winds overnight, they're really going to strengthen just like that out of the south, tapping into some much milder air, all associated with this low pressure system. And you can see the air so mild that at times there is freezing rain associated with it as it crosses Saskatchewan. But as it gets more into Manitoba, warm air aloft is not going to be as warm. So that's going to mitigate the possibility of freezing rain to a large extent. But still, if you're in the southwest tomorrow morning, watch out for it as that snow also picks up as well. As we get into the afternoon, over the course of it, that's when that snow is going to expand further and further east, not just into Winnipeg, but really all across the province. And it will continue to do so into tomorrow night as it makes its way even further east into northwestern Ontario. Tomorrow night, Winnipeg looking at 2 to 4 centimeters. As I mentioned, that's when the heaviest snow is going to come through, and even that is not all that heavy, but it will be very windy tomorrow. On the backside of this system, that snow continues to push off further into Ontario on Sunday, and we will see more of a mix of sun and cloud across much of the south for the second half of the weekend, with mild temperatures continuing. Tonight, not as cold as last night, minus 23, mostly clear, and it is overnight when those winds start to strengthen out of the south. They will be very strong tomorrow, 50 gusting to 70 kilometers out of the south. That snow likely to arrive by the afternoon, a high of minus 8 degrees. Snow is behind us by Sunday, again up to minus 8 under a mix of sun and cloud. Minus 15 on Monday, mix of sun and cloud, and then cloudy through the midweek with temperatures getting warmer and warmer. Look at that, 0 by Thursday. We will take that. Sunday, by the way, is the first day of February. Our first weather photo takes us to Graysville, Manitoba, and that beautiful photo, very picturesque, that was taken by Brad. And this next one is out at Grand Rapids, and Ernie is being a little punny. He said, "What's happening?" You can see those hydro poles in the background. Send us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. All the excitement surrounding Crave's heated rivalry is showing no signs of slowing down. The Canadian show has become a global phenomenon, and it got some very special attention at a Canadian media industry conference.
And I was at 10 out of 10 before. Yeah. We've turned it to 11. We've got to the spinal tap moment. Spinal tap moment.
Prime Minister Mark Carney stopped by and he got to try on the now famous Team Canada fleece jacket from the show. That jacket has become so popular that official replicas will now be produced and sold. CTV News and Crave are owned by Bell Media, a division of BCE. Those jackets are sharp.
They are.
A lot of people want to get their hands on them. Hopefully they're affordable.
The meteoric rise of that show, I can't remember the last time we've ever seen anything like it.
Yeah, season 2 coming, and apparently it's going to be centered a lot in Ottawa, so people get a kick out of that. All right, we will be back at 6 o'clock with more local news. Hope to see you then.